Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuya. The title of today's talk is Sitting with Buddha and Fixing My Home. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that approximately 2 years I purchased a house in the middle of nowhere and I began working to start a homestead. I did this for a couple of reasons. I was tired of the noise and the congestion of city life. I wanted to be closer to the nature. Also, I wanted to use the skills I'd learned traveling across the country, apprenticing on organic farms. I wanted to grow food. I wanted to raise animals. I wanted to build things. And I'm happy to report I've been able to do all of those things, and it's been a wonderful experience. However, I did not account for the amount of work that would have to go into renovating my farmhouse. As a rule, old farmhouses have good bones, but they need a lot of updates, a lot of renovations in order to ensure that someone else gets to enjoy this homestead after I pass into nirvana. So for the last 2 years, I've been working with contractors to get various projects done around the house. We put on a new roof, new gutters, but it seems like the more I do, the more there is to be done. I do what I can to control what I can. I get quotes from multiple people. I ask to see pictures of their previous projects. And these are all good strategies. However, I've found that even when you're working with the best people, things can still go wrong. Sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate, so a project needs to be postponed. Sometimes one thing needs to be broken in order for another thing to be fixed. For example, you may need to tear a hole in a wall in order to run new wires for electricity. As a result, the last 2 years have been a fun, exciting time, but I have to admit they've also been stressful. More than that, they've forced me to practice some humility. I've had to accept the fact that there are some skills that I don't have. Thus, I am required to depend on other people. More than that, the world is largely out of my control. There are repairs that need to be made, and they don't always work around my schedule. When it becomes too much to handle, I retreat to the meditation hall and I sit in front of my altar. I reside there paying homage to the Buddha and focusing on my breath the same way that he did 2,600 years ago. When I do this, I'm reminded that the problem is not the house, it's not the contractors, it's certainly not the weather or the world at large. No, the problem is me. As always, the source of my suffering is my endless desires. I want the weather to be nice so the work doesn't get delayed. I want the work to cost less and be done faster. I want the house to look the way I envision it once all the construction and the landscaping is done. I want, and the more I want, the more I suffer. Thus, it is only when I sit with the Buddha, focusing on my breath, I'm able to step away from my wants and desires and realize that I will make plans and I will have to change them. I will make budgets and I will have to change them. I will have visions of my home and how it should look, and I will have to change them because the world is always changing and I am not separate from the world. Thus, I am forced to ebb and flow like the ocean crashing into a rocky shore. I push when I am able, I retreat when I am not, and each day I chip away at my to-do list, bit by bit, until the work is done. Understanding, being reminded that I am not the center of the world, and I must go along with the tide. Amitabha.